Welcome back. Starting this step, let's look at a very important aspect of deploying applications to the cloud, which is availability. What is availability? Are the applications available when the users need them? Availability is a percentage of time an application provides the operations that are expected of it. A good example of availability is 99.99% availability. This is also called 4 nines availability. To understand the impact of 4 nines availability, let's look at a few examples. Let's look at the availability table. If you are asking for 99.95% availability, it would mean a downtime of just 22 minutes in a month. If you'd want an availability of 4 nines or 99.99%, you are looking at just about 4 minutes of downtime per month. This is very difficult to achieve because even to release a new version of the software, there would be some amount of downtime typically. Achieving 4 nines availability is tough, but that's what most online applications aim for. If you'd want 5 nines availability, that means 26 seconds of downtime in a month. This is really tough. With this in context, let's now look at the availability for your Azure virtual machines. Earlier, we created a couple of virtual machines. How do I increase the availability for them? If I'm deploying an application on them, how do I ensure that the applications are available? Let's look at some of the important availability metrics for your Azure virtual machines. If you have a single instance virtual machine, and you have created it with premium SSD or ultra disk, then you get 99.9% availability. What is premium SSD or ultra disk? We talked about the fact that virtual machines can be attached with disks. There are different types of disks which are present. Premium SSD, ultra disk, standard SSD, standard HDD, and based on the disk which is attached, the availability guarantee from Azure for your virtual machine varies. If you are attaching premium or ultra disk, it's 99.9%. If you are attaching standard SSD, the availability goes down 99.5. If you are attaching standard HDD hard disk drive, then it goes down even further, 95%. Let's quickly see where you can see these disk types. You can go to Add Virtual Machine and go to Disks. And this is where you can see the different disk types. So right now we are making use of premium. You can also use standard SSD, standard HDD as well. As it says in here, ultra disk option is only available when we are making use of availability zones. We would look at how you can use availability zones a little later when we are playing with scale sets. Now, if you'd want to further increase the availability for your Azure VM, what you need to do is to create 2 or more instances in the same availability set. So if you create 2 VMs in the same availability set, the availability increases from 99.9% to 99.95%. While the increase looks small, it is very important when it comes to online applications. So if you create 2 instances in an availability set, you get higher availability. But what is an availability set? Where can you configure it? Availability set is nothing but a logical grouping of virtual machines. Instead of creating single virtual machine, you'd want to create a logical group of a number of virtual machines. And whenever we are talking about availability sets, there are 2 important concepts: fault domains and update domains. Fault domains are nothing but a group of VMs sharing a common power source and network switch. If I have 2 VMs and both the VMs are deployed to the same fault domain, what would happen if the power source goes down? Both the VMs would be down. So for higher availability, you'd want to distribute your VMs across different fault domains. You don't want all your VMs to share the same common power source and network switch. The other important concept is update domains. These are group of VMs that are updated or rebooted at the same time. Any maintenance that is done on all the VMs in a single update domain, the maintenance would be done at the same time. If I have 10 VMs and all the 10 VMs are in the same update domain, what would happen? All of them would be updated at the same time. They might be rebooted, and that would cause downtime in the application. And I don't want that as well. I want to distribute the VMs across different update domains as well. So whenever we are creating VMs, we would want to distribute them across fault domains and across update domains so that all of them don't go down at the same time. And the way you can do that is by making use of an availability set. Where do you create an availability set? Let's go back to basics when we create a virtual machine, and let's scroll down, and over here you have availability options, and this is where you have the option to create a availability set. So I can go here and say I would want to create an availability set. You can go ahead and create a new availability set right here. So you can say I would want to create a new availability set, and you can configure the name of the availability set and how many different fault domains and update domains you would want to make use of. So if I would want to create 10 VMs, probably I would choose 5 update domains and 2 different fault domains. If you have 1 fault domain and 1 update domain, then your availability will be low. However, if you increase the fault domains to either 2 or 3 and increase the number of update domains, let's say I would want 5 update domains or 10 update domains, then the chances that all the VMs would go down at the same time will go down substantially. So whenever you're creating a virtual machine, you can associate it with a availability set. If you have multiple virtual machines which are associated with the availability set, then the availability set would ensure that those virtual machines are distributed across different fault domains and update domains. To get even further higher availability, what you can do is to deploy 2 or more instances in 2 or more availability zones in the same Azure region. This gives you up to 99.99% availability. So over here, what we need to do is to deploy 2 or more instances in different availability zones. You don't even want them in the same availability zone. They have to be in separate availability zones. In summary, if you want high availability, you want to create multiple instances. If you create multiple instances in the same availability set, you get 99.95% availability. If you create the instances in 2 or more availability zones, then you'd get up to 99.99% availability. Let's say I would want to create multiple instances in multiple availability zones. How do I automate the creation of all that? That's what we'll be looking at in the next steps. I'll see you in the next step.